Hey, welcome back. Today's session will be very much interesting for the people who want to see GenAI in build process automation. Yes, in build process automation, which is part of SAP build family tools on BTP. Let's get into action. The scenario is okay, let me so this is the scenario. Supplier invoice posting in SAP backend system. So as part of that, the first step is invoice extraction. So the supplier sent a PDF copy of invoice and we extract the details from that PDF copy. That's step 1. And step 2, we determine the approver to approve the extracted invoice. And then step 3, task approval form, we will send the approval form to the person who is determined as an approver, and then he will make a decision. The decision is either approved or rejected. If it is approved, we will post the invoice in the backend system by creating it. If it is rejected, then we will end the process. So this is the process that we are going to build in build process automation using GenAI. Please note, it's not Joule. They don't call it Joule in BPA. They call it GenAI. Okay. Now let's go to build lobby. So here in build lobby, as usual, click on create icon and then build an automated process, business process. Then give it a name. So let's call it invoice posting. Then click on create button. You will get a pop-up asking you to give the process name, but I don't give the name there because I don't want to create the process manually. Okay. It's taking time. Let's okay. So this is the pop-up where you are supposed to give the process name, but since the idea is to create the process by using GenAI, I am cancelling it. Okay. Now you see the icon here, generate. So if you hover your cursor there, you see a tooltip saying display AI assistant. So you are excited to see what happens when I click on this one. Let's see that. Click on generate icon. Now you see there are two options. Option 1 to create the process or to generate the process. Okay, let's change the terms. Don't use create. Let's call it as generate because AI is going to generate. You see two different icons here. One is create, if you are going to create it manually. Second one is generate because you are generating it by use, or in other words, you are providing the prompt and GenAI is going to generate the process. So there are two options here. One is to generate the process and the second one is form. Please note, the limitation as of now is even if there is a form as part of the process, you cannot generate the form while generating the process. At one go you can't do that. First you generate the process, then you will have to add a form to that depending on your requirement. So let's generate the process. Please click on the process icon. Now you see here you can provide your prompt. Okay. So I have created a prompt in advance. Hey, please note, in the age of GenAI, either for Joule or for GenAI here in build process automation or Joule in build code, it is an art to create the prompts, to write good prompts, considering the requirement, the technical aspects, many other things. Okay. So it requires a lot of time in fact. So now let's copy the prompt, and my prompt is this: create a process for invoice approval, meaning that my process name will be invoice approval. First, add the automation task for invoice extraction. So first, okay, let's go back to the PDF I was showing you earlier, right? Okay, so what is the first one? Invoice extraction. This is an automation task. That's what I am telling the system now here. Okay, first add the automation task for invoice extraction, then add an action task for invoice, create invoice. Okay, invoice creation. This is the one. So my prompt is telling basically three things. One is to create the process, which is invoice approval. Second one is to add the automation task for invoice extraction, and third one is create invoice. This is an action task. So basically, if you look at this one, my prompt is talking about invoice extraction and then create invoice. But the steps that are there in between, approval determination, which is a business rule, and then task approval form, which is user approval form, these two are missing. Because as I said earlier, there are certain limitations as of now in GenAI, in build process automation. So I can't ask GenAI to create all of them, to generate all of them at one go. So I am limiting my prompt to create first the automation task and also action task. Once the process is generated, then I'll go back and update it with the remaining steps. Okay, so now let's generate. You see the message here, AI is generating your process. The moment the process is generated, yeah, it is already there. So it opened in a separate tab. You see here, invoice approval. Voila. So the process is generated and it has the automation task for invoice extraction, and it also has an action project to create the invoice. That's what I said, right? This one and this one. Now what about these two steps? Let's add them manually. Oh no, when I say manually, still you can make use of GenAI. The only thing is, AI cannot generate them in the first place when it is generating the process. Okay. Now we need to add an approval step. So we need decision rule. So for that, click on a plus on this plus icon, and then you get smart menu. Click on decision. Now blank decision. Give it a name. Let's give the name. I'm copying it and pasting here. This is my decision name. Decision for the approval determination. Okay, and click on create. Now the decision is created. And as of now, again, the limitation is GenAI helps you to create the a part of decision. It cannot create the decision name, so that's the reason I gave the name and the decision is created. But of course, this is an empty one, right? There is nothing inside. But I can use GenAI. You see here, I can use GenAI to generate the rule within the decision. But of course, again, here is the catch. GenAI cannot generate the input and output parameters. So what I do, I manually add the input parameters and output parameters, and then ask the GenAI to generate the rule using those input and output parameters. Okay. So now, what is my decision? What is the purpose of it? I need to determine the approver, considering what? The amount and currency. So considering the amount and currency, I need to determine the approver's email ID. So for input, I need two fields. One is amount and currency, and then for output, I need one field called approver email. That's it. So now click on add input parameters and then let's call it amount. Okay, and keep it as string. Now let's add another one, currency, and this one also keep it string. And then considering these two, the output should be what? Approver email. Okay, approver's email. That's it. And this one also let's keep it string. Now we have both input and output parameters. Okay, now let's save this and then go back to generate button. And then I'm not asked, see, there are two options. You can ask GenAI to explain the decision, or you can ask GenAI to generate the rule. So in this case there is nothing, so there is no point asking GenAI to explain it. First we generate the rule and then we will come back asking it to explain it. Okay, so now generate the rule. So what is the prompt for that? So now let me copy this prompt and paste it here. So what is it saying? Determination. Okay, create a decision table rule, approver's determination. The table rule name will be approver determination based on amount and currency, two parameters. If the amount is greater than 100 USD, the approver email should be sapbuild.training@gmail.com. Okay, so now let's generate. So AI is generating. Once the generation is done, you will see the rule here. You will see the rule here. I think it will also display the rule. It will take us to the rule, I think. Let's see that. Yes. See, this is the rule. Decision table generated, and you can see this one here. If the amount is greater than 100 USD, approver email is sapbuild.training@gmail.com. Okay. Now, okay, you will see the beauty of GenAI now. Maybe somebody is thinking, what if there is a gap? Let's say the extracted invoice amount is less than 100 USD. Then what happens? Let's see what GenAI tells about it now. Click on this one. You see here, no gap identified. GenAI identified a gap in the rule. No rule condition is defined for amount less than or equal to 100 USD. Now let's click on fix gap. It identified the gap and it is willing to fix the gap. So click on fix gap and see what happens. It may add a line here, it may add a row here, but what about the approver email? Oh yeah, you see, if it is less than or equal to 100 USD, but still approver email is pending, right? So now you can add that manually. So to add that, because it is a text one, use a single inverted commas, and then you can write your email ID, venkat@sapbuild.training.com. Okay, that's it. So now let's save this. Now you can ask GenAI to explain the decision. Okay, let's click on this one. You see, generate index. Yeah, it is explaining basically the conditions. So that's about the, okay, now let's close this decision for the approver and let's go back to the process. So in the process, okay, it happens, don't worry. See, we created the decision and the decision is created, but we didn't add that in the process. We clicked on this one and we went to smart menu and we created this decision. Now let's add the decision to our process. Okay, now the decision is added to the process. So if we go back to our PDF here, this one was created in the first place itself, and now we added this one, approver determination decision, and then finally we need to add user task approval form, so that whoever gets determined here, the approver, will receive a form to make a decision whether to approve or reject. So now let's add user task approval form to the process. So for that, again click on the plus icon and then click on approval, and here you see there is a place where you can provide the prompt. Now let's provide the prompt. I am copying the prompt and paste here. So in this prompt I am telling the GenAI to create user task approval form for approval. So the name of the form will be approval with the following fields. So I am specifying what should be the fields. For example, PO number of type string, PO item string, material string again, and so on. And at the end I am also telling in the prompt to add a text area field for approver comments. Okay. Now let's click on generate. It is generating, and once the generation is completed, you will see the form, approval form, including all the fields whatever I asked for. But I think you won't have the text area for approver comments for whatever reason, I don't know, it's not working. Okay. Now you see this is approver user task approval form is created, and if you get to inside of it, GenAI added all these fields. Okay, PO number, PO item, material, quantity, everything is there. But as I said earlier, I asked in the in the prompt to create a text area for approver comments. For whatever the reason, GenAI couldn't add that field. Anyways, let's close this. Now almost we are done. See, what is the process? If it is approved, it should create the invoice. If it is rejected, you should end the process. So click on that one plus and go to smart menu, go to controls and choose end. That's it. The process is closed if it is rejected. Forget about these ones. We need to provide some additional details. But that's not the point of this session. The point is to show you how you can use GenAI to create process in build process automation. If you quickly compare with the scenario, now this step is done, approve determination, task approval. If it is approved, create invoice. If it is rejected, end the process. That's what you have here. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell, just to show you how GenAI can be of use in building the processes in build process automation. Soon you will have it. Once it is generally available to all, you can play with this. And but of course, as you have seen, there are limitations. But for 100% in the days to come, next 3 months, 6 months max, I think 6 months, within next 6 months, all those gaps, all those limitations will be addressed for sure. And this will be a great tool for both functional and technical people to build processes and automations. The power of BTP is in my of course I am biased on build tools, SAP build tools. Build family, SAP Build family is the most powerful combination of tools on BTP. Okay, I'll come back with another scenario soon. Thank you. Bye.